You've cut sugar, you've skipped meals, and you've survived on low carb, low fat, low everything diets. You are doing the work, yet that belly fat still hangs on like it pays rent. It's frustrating, it's exhausting, and quite frankly, it feels unfair. You look in the mirror and wonder why the scale might be moving, but your midsection refuses to budge. Here's the twist: your body isn't fighting you. It is actually trying to protect you. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do based on the signals you are sending it. I am going to show you the real reason belly fat sticks around and the exact steps to finally get rid of it without starving yourself or doing endless crunches on the floor until your back hurts. This isn't about having more willpower. This is about hormones. It is about biology. And once you flip the right metabolic switches, your belly fat melts away because your body finally feels safe enough to let it go. To understand how to fix this, you have to understand why belly fat is so stubborn in the first place. You have to realize that the fat on your stomach is biologically different from the fat on your arms or your legs. It behaves differently. It reacts to different triggers. There are two major players here, two specific hormones that are currently holding your midsection hostage. The first is cortisol. This is the stress keeper. In our modern lives, we think of stress as a bad day at work or a traffic jam. But to your body, stress equals danger. When cortisol is chronically high, your body enters a survival mode. It thinks a famine or a predator is coming. Because of that, it decides to store fat in the most easily accessible place for emergency energy, right around your vital organs in your midsection. This is your body preparing for a disaster that never comes. The second player is insulin. This is the fat gatekeeper. Think of insulin as a key. When insulin is high, the key locks the door to your fat cells. You cannot burn fat when insulin is present in the blood. If you are constantly snacking, even on healthy foods, or if you are eating high sugar items, your insulin stays elevated. This blocks your body from accessing its own fat stores. You could be on a calorie deficit, but if your insulin is high, that belly fat remains locked away. Most people try to solve a hormonal problem with a calorie solution, and that is why they fail. This is why willpower alone never fixes belly fat. If insulin stays high and cortisol stays elevated, fat stays locked in. That's why I recommend the program linked below. It's built specifically to address those signals with short, low-stress workouts that actually fit real life. You don't need it right now, but it removes a lot of guesswork if progress has been slow. Controlling these hormones is essential. Diet and exercise alone simply won't work if the chemical signals are wrong. This brings us to why most people stay stuck. We have been fed a lot of myths about weight loss that send us running in the wrong direction. First, you have likely heard that you need to do crunches to get abs. This is false. Crunches build muscle, but they do not burn the fat covering the muscle. You cannot spot reduce fat by flexing the muscle underneath it. Second, the idea that cardio is the cure. Cardio is great for your heart, but cardio alone often fails to fix the underlying insulin issues. In fact, excessive cardio without proper fueling can actually spike your cortisol levels, making the belly fat problem worse. Third, the biggest myth of all is that it is just about calories in versus calories out. This model completely ignores hormonal signals. If you eat 1,500 calories of bread and sugar, your hormonal response is drastically different than if you eat 1,500 calories of steak and eggs. The first spikes insulin and stores fat. The second stabilizes insulin and encourages muscle growth. If you are doing these things, counting every calorie, running for hours, and crunching until you can't move, you are literally wasting months, maybe years, fighting the wrong battle. You are fighting a chemical war with physical weapons, and you are losing. So how do we actually win? The answer lies in how we manage our eating window. This is where we talk about how fasting unlocks belly fat. When you stop eating for a set period, your insulin levels naturally drop. As they drop, the lock on your fat cells opens. This is the moment belly fat becomes accessible fuel. This isn't a starvation tactic, it is a metabolic reset. It is about giving your body a break from digestion so it can focus on mobilization. Fasting is not a trendy diet hack. It is how the human body was designed to function. Our ancestors did not have a refrigerator or a pantry. They went long periods without food, and their bodies became efficient at burning stored fat for energy. When we graze all day, we never let our insulin drop low enough to switch into that fat-burning mode. However, simply skipping breakfast isn't enough if you are doing it wrong. There are specific rules you need to follow to make this effective for visceral belly fat. Let's break down the 3 fasting rules that actually work. Rule number 1 is keeping a tight eating window. You need to aim for a window of about 6 to 8 hours for eating, leaving 16 to 18 hours for fasting. Why this specific number? Because fat burning doesn't really ramp up until you are about 12 hours into a fasted state. If you only fast for 10 hours, you are barely scratching the surface. You need to push past that 12-hour mark to get into the deep fat burning zone where the body starts scavenging that stubborn belly tissue. If you are grazing from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., you effectively have zero access to your body fat. Rule number 2 is the most critical. The fast must be clean. This is where 90% of people fail. A clean fast means you are consuming only water, black coffee, plain tea, or electrolytes with absolutely no sugar or sweeteners. You cannot have a splash of milk in your coffee. You cannot have bone broth. You cannot have a protein shake. You cannot have peanut butter or sugary gummy vitamins. Even a small amount of calories or a sweet taste can trigger an insulin response. The moment insulin spikes, the fast is broken and the fat burning door slams shut. You have to be strict during the fasting hours to get the hormonal benefit. Rule number 3 is managing stress and sleep. This ties back to cortisol. You could fast perfectly, but if you sleep 4 hours a night and stress all day, belly fat won't budge. Poor sleep and chronic stress keep cortisol elevated, blocking fat burning. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. A practical tip: take a 10-15 minute walk after meals. It lowers insulin response and cortisol. Before bed, avoid screens, which trick your brain into thinking it's daytime, keeping cortisol high. Try breathing exercises or light stretching and keep your room cool and dark. This alone helps more than most realize. That's exactly why I recommend the program linked below. It's built around short, 15-minute body weight sessions that reduce stress, improve insulin response, and help your body finally let go of stubborn belly fat. If you've been doing everything right and still aren't seeing results, this gives you a system that works with your biology, not against it. If you want a simple, beginner-friendly way to apply everything we talked about today, the program I mentioned is linked below. You don't need more willpower. You need the right signals and a system you can actually stick to. Now for bonus tips that accelerate results. First, prioritize protein, 25-35 grams per meal. Protein has a high thermic effect, burning more calories during digestion than carbs or fat, and triggers satiety hormones, preventing snacking and insulin spikes. Second, incorporate strength training. Lifting weights 2 to 4 times a week boosts metabolism, muscle tissue is metabolically active, improves insulin sensitivity, and keeps fat burning elevated for 24 hours post-workout, unlike cardio. Third, avoid eating late. Eating before bed keeps insulin high, prevents fat burning overnight, raises core temperature, and disrupts sleep, creating a vicious cycle. Stop eating 3 to 4 hours before sleep. Fourth, stay hydrated. Dehydration raises cortisol, so drink water throughout the day, especially during fasting. Finally, focus on fiber and whole foods. Fiber slows sugar absorption, reducing insulin spikes and keeping you in fat burning mode longer. Vegetables, avocados, and seeds are excellent options. Bottom line, your body is not broken and you're not lazy. You've been using an outdated manual, fighting biology instead of working with it. Lower insulin through a consistent eating window and calm cortisol with sleep and stress management. The weight comes off. You don't need to starve or run yourself into the ground. Just send the right signals. The plan is simple. Compress your eating window, keep your fast clean, prioritize protein and sleep, and walk after meals. Do this and you'll stop fighting your body and finally see results. No starvation, no extreme workouts. If you found this helpful, hit the like button. It helps more people find this information. Comment below and tell me which tip you'll try first, the clean fast or the sleep routine.